And welcome to the Expert CRE Secrets podcast, also streaming on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most commercial real estate brokers, realtors, and those in the real estate industry, they struggle with clarifying their passive income options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven brokerage model such as the EXP commercial model and purchasing investment real estate is the best way to grow your wealth. I'm your host, Brett Swarts, and each episode I'm joined by some of the best commercial real estate brokers, realtors, also wholesalers, and also those who are buying active real estate right now, where we're going to discuss ways to grow your real estate business. That being said, I'm excited for our next guest. He is the founder of the Great Northwest Homebuyers, a principal at Equal Housing Group, and most importantly, the host of the Real Estate Investing Club, which, by the way, is pretty amazing. It's number one internationally ranked business podcast on Apple Podcast, and where he discusses wisdom from today's top real estate investors. And in today's episode, we are going to be discussing generating off-market leads in commercial real estate, and with Gabe Petersen. Gabe, welcome to the show. How you doing?
All right, Brett. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you and excited to dive into your story. So with that, let's start with that. What is a little bit more about yourself, if you could please tell us, and also tell us a little bit about your current focus.
Yeah, for sure. So my story is like a lot of investors, people in real estate out there, not linear at all. I actually got started when I was going to college. I was getting a degree in philosophy. I was going to be a lawyer. I started, going and actually shadowing some lawyers, realized it wasn't for me. Graduated college, I was like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And I actually started in corporate. So I was I worked in consulting for almost 10 years, but I just did not like the life and I needed some way out. And so I kept searching. I tried launching a few businesses, e-commerce, even brought them up to like 20,000 a month, but didn't like that life just because it was staring at a screen all day, not really interacting with people. And that's when I saw one of those ads, you can flip a house, make $1 billion. And I was like, $1 billion sounds great to me. So I got started in real estate. I flipped my first house. It was a triplex in Tacoma I don't even remember the year, probably 2014. And then from there, I got into wholesaling, single family. And the story's been up and down since then. Now my focus is mobile home, RV parks, and the new focus is self-storage. I love those asset classes. So that's where I am today.
Beautiful, Gabe. Great introduction. And by the way, you can learn more about Gabe Petersen at therealestateinvestingclub.com. That's therealestateinvestingclub.com. Gabe, so I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given to us to be like a blessing and help to others. Some people call them strengths, some people call them superpowers. I believe they're God-given gifts, and these gifts, again, are something that maybe you recognize at a younger age, perhaps when you're in high school or college, and maybe someone told you about these gifts. Maybe you kind of stumbled upon them. But I'm curious, what are those one or two gifts or strengths that you believe you were given, and how does that help how you help and bless people today?
One or two strengths. Let's see. So I think you're right. I think everybody does have strengths and weaknesses. One thing that I've just noticed throughout my whole life that I've always just kind of had is vision. I can see the future, as they say. I really look into the future and look at my goals, and I can communicate and pursue a vision. Something that kind of life has given me is that I don't really think anybody is necessarily born with, but is persistence and just staying at it, especially in real estate. Persistence is the number one thing you need. You need to be able to just keep going down the road and not give up when you hit those roadblocks. So that's, I think, one of my strengths now, but I don't think I've had it my entire life. It's something that I've had to learn along the way.
Excellent. So persistence, vision, and then being able to communicate and pursue that vision. Love it. Those are great gifts, and thank you for sharing those. So let's dive right into the best way to generate off-market leads in commercial real estate. So what's the number one secret, Gabe, that most people overlook when it comes to generating off-market leads?
Cool. Yeah. And I love this topic. When it comes to generating leads, there's a ton of ways to do it, and no one way is the right way. That's what I feel is really important. If you master any of the different methods of generating leads, that method is going to bring you what you need. So, I can say this is the one that's working best for me right now, but that doesn't mean that if you're also pursuing these other methods, it won't also work for you if you just put the time in and master it and get really good at it. But when it comes to different channels, the ones that I've found to be most effective when it's talking about off-market leads is first is Ringless voicemail. Ringless voicemail is super effective. It does take a lot of data, so you need to have a really good data set for it to work. Ringless voicemail, and then direct mail, obviously the oldie, the goodie, one that has been working for hundreds of thousands of investors over the years. Direct mail is still effective. People are hating on it these days, but I still think it works, especially if you're talking about smaller properties that aren't, they're owned by kind of a mom and pop owner. And then third is texting. I don't really like text marketing that much, but people have seen a lot of success. I've seen some success with it, but it's an avenue that I use. And then online, so PPC, Facebook ads, everything that has to do with your website is another great way. You can also do organic marketing, so creating a podcast, anything like that, anything that creates content, puts it out there, puts your name out there. Establishes trust with the people that are listening, engaging with you, is a really great way to generate leads. And the last one is actually technically not off market, but it is off market because it hasn't been listed. But I think brokers are a great way to get off market deals, because a broker, when they get their deal, they're not going to, if they have somebody who already they know is going to be a great buyer, they're going to take it to their list before they go to the market. And so I think creating relationships with brokers, creating relationships with other investors is a great way to generate off-market leads, especially in the commercial space, and even single family. I mean, the deeper and the better and the more strong relationships you have in your whatever career you're doing, you're going to generate more business that comes to your business.
Awesome. So direct mail, ringless voicemail, text marketing, content creation like podcasting, and then developing relationships with brokers are all great ways.
And email. I forgot email. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and emails. Yeah, probably a drip system, automation, emails. So yeah, a lot of those are kind of known. I kind of want to focus on the ringless voicemail. I feel like that's probably one that's most overlooked, perhaps, and maybe you mentioned it first as well. So first thing would be, what's the best way you found to actually get the phone numbers, right? To get real good numbers. What is the system to effectively do that? What do you do?
So that is definitely the hardest part of text marketing, the hardest part of ringless voicemail, even direct mail, is getting good data. And that is where you will the effort you put in is you earn the leads there, because it is hard to get that good data. It's hard to get valid data that actually goes to owners and not to property managers, not to some blank LLC, something like that. So really, skip tracing, having a good skip tracer, and finding good data sources is key. There's a lot of different sources out there to find good data. You can go, the Department of Homeland Security has some really good base sets that you can use, but once you get that base set, you really got to work the set and find, skip trace it, find good owner contact information, and not LLC information, not property manager information, anything like that. So really working the data once you do have the set, and it doesn't matter what asset class you're talking about. You can go out there and you can find any data set, mobile home parks, single family, multifamily, anything like that. Property Radar is one. I think I started with List Source was the first one I used, but that's super expensive. So there's plenty of data out there. You just got to find it, and then you got to work it. You got to find the actual owner contact information in order to get that to work. And to do that, there's a bunch of different ways to skip trace. You can skip trace with Lead Sherpa is a good first pass. They don't really have a great hit rate, but Lead Sherpa does work. Batch skip trace, and then the kind of hard but very effective way is to actually hire a VA and tell them to go on to the corporations division for the state, and find the LLC owner, and then go and actually skip trace that individual LLC owner. So it can be laborious, but it's very effective.
Excellent. Okay. So skip tracing and property radar, list source, hiring a VA, using these different systems. But so you're probably hiring that out, right? Because you probably don't want to be in the nitty gritty of all that. You want to have someone else doing that. And then are you hiring someone full time, 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours? Is this like number one thing that you're doing to walk us through your actual steps to do this? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, the first part, you got to find a good VA, not somebody who, I don't know. It's really hard to find good VAs. I'm not going to lie, and that is, I don't have an answer for you there. You really just got to test them, send them a test task, see if they perform well on that. If they do, give them a little bit more work, a little bit more work. But when you're talking about working with VAs, it really just depends on the volume you need. So if you are ready to slam it, if you got people, behind the phones, ready to pick up the calls, and you need a good source of data, then you can go up to 10, 20 hours. I've been just doing 5 hours a day or a week for the VA because that gives me enough data to work on. But if you got a huge team behind you and you need a lot of data, yeah, push it up.
Excellent. Makes sense. Thanks for sharing that. All right. So that's number one is Ringless Reach. And then you're leaving these voicemails. And so, hey, this is Gabe Petersen. I'm calling about your mobile home park that you might or might not have for sale or be thinking about selling. Walk us through a little bit of the script to be able to generate these off-market leads.
Yeah, I actually don't remember the script that I have, but I generally what it says, if I remember correctly, is, hey, my name's Gabe. I'm a mobile home park investor. My assistant found your park online. It's something that I may be interested in offering on. If you'd like to receive an offer, no obligation whatsoever. Just give me a ring back and we can talk about it, get a little details about your property, and then I can send you an offer.
Perfect. And so it's very general, meaning because you're doing this to 50 mobile home park owners within a city, right?
Yeah,
And
and
so, go ahead.
yeah, so you can. There are different ways to go about this. The message that I send out is super general because I don't want to have to create a new message for every metro that I go into. But if you did create a message for, say you're in Austin, Texas, and you're sending RVMs to Austin, Texas, it is going to be a more effective RVM Blast if you actually say Austin. It's like, hey, I'm looking to buy multifamily. I'm looking to buy, retail in Austin. I'd love to talk to you. That message is going to be received better. It's going to have, it's going to be more effective than just saying, hey, I'm looking to buy a property in your area.
Mm-hmm. I think also adding maybe a deal story or your track record, your performance, right? Are you finding yourself doing that to bring some credibility, or how are you establishing credibility?
So on the RVM itself, I don't say any of that. The RVMs, the main intention of the RVM is just to pique their interest and just to get them to call you. Once they call you, that's when you start creating a relationship. You starting building rapport. Tell them what you've done in the past, and you can talk about the property, about what they may want out of the property, what their situation's like, when they may be interested in selling. And that's another thing when it comes to generating leads and working those leads is the vast majority of the time, you're not going to be closing, whatever closing means for you. You're not going to be closing that lead on that day. You're going to have to follow up. We do, or I do an email sequence that follows up with them, a text sequence that follows up. I put them in my calendar, give them a call 6 months out of the way. If they say, hey, I may be interested in selling in June, give them a call the next month, give them a call the month after that. Once they express interest, that's when the real work starts. That's when you start working that lead. But the point of the RVM is just to get them to call you, just to pick up the phone and say, hey, I got your RVM or I got your voicemail. I'm here to talk, and just
Makes sense. So yeah, you don't want to come off like you're selling them anything. Just say, hey, my name's Brett, and I buy mobile home parks, or I buy multifamily, or I sell Deferred Sales Trust, and hey, if you're open to selling your property, or give me a call, and no obligation, and just wanted to see if you'd be open to that. Is that a fair summary?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, excellent. I
And
like it.
also the reason,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I like RVMs better is I feel they're less intrusive. There's some pretty intrusive forms of marketing. I think feel text marketing can be kind of intrusive. But RVMs, like literally, it's just doesn't even ring them. It's just a voicemail that just drops into their phone. They can delete it if they don't want to. If they don't recognize the number, they don't want to listen to it, they can just go ahead and delete it. So I feel like it's not it. It starts the relationship off a little warmer, a little better. So you're not coming off as the aggressive salesperson. Sell me your property. So they're not picking up the phone like, you asshole, you called me, whatever. And it's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, you wouldn't just rush into someone's neighborhood and start yelling. And if you think about it, like you walk into like a cul-de-sac, right? And there's all these imagine there's 10 houses. You aren't be like, hey, sell me your house. You might just go and, hey, my name is Gabe. My name is Brett. If you're open to selling your house, let's talk, right? So that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think too often. I also have to pull myself back because I get excited or get, want to get it out, but you got to be listening, got to be patient, make a general offer, try to make a handshake, and then try to give some information. Is that a fair summary? A follow-up information. Is that a fair summary, Gabe?
Yep. I think that's perfect.
Awesome. So that's secret number one was to generating off-market leads. Essentially, we touched on a number of them, but ringless voicemail, I think, is something perhaps we can all take advantage of and help to reach out for more people. Okay, so what's secret number two now? Perhaps it's in the follow-up. Perhaps it's in something that's overlooked. What would you think we could help on that, Gabe?
For
generating off-market leads. Yeah. So maybe it's in the conversion. Maybe it's a tip in the follow-up. What would be any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the first one, obviously, just choose a channel and then stick with that channel until you master it. The second, there's so many tips that you can go down, especially when it comes to interact. Your first touch, once they've reached out, they express interest. The first touch has to be quick. Time kills all deals. Time definitely kills all leads. If you're waiting a day, 2 days to get back to a lead that reached out to you, it's maybe dead. There's a good chance that it's dead. So time kills all deals. You gotta jump on a lead once they express their interest. If you're sending out an RVM, be ready. Be on the phone. Have your phone right there to grab those calls. Don't send them to voicemail. Voicemail is not, it's not an effective way. You got to get them right when they're there. After that, the biggest tip is just, and I'm not the best at this, and I need to improve on this, but it is long term. You need to continually develop that lead. As I said, the first touch point. It's not going to be the sale, most likely. Sometimes it is, which is awesome, but usually it's not. And so you need to keep developing that relationship over time, keep checking in with them. And that's why you shouldn't be super aggressive on the first call, on the first touch point, because it's usually a long game and it's not going to work that first time through. You really need to show show them that they can trust you, show them that, you are the right person to buy their property. And keep doing that, keep showing up, keep showing them that you're trustworthy over time. And eventually enough trust will build up. When they are ready to sell, they'll think, hey, Brett, he was an awesome guy. I've talked to him, 6 times over the past 5 months. I really liked him. I think I want to sell to him. They'll pick it up the call or up their phone, give you a call, and close that way.
Perfect. I love it, Gabe. I couldn't agree with you more. And also it makes me think of what's called the value ladder. Russell Brunson talks about in this book, in his multiple things, but especially in the book, Expert Secrets. And he talks about, someone to get to know you and to give something of value, especially in the very beginning. It could be like an ebook, right? That could be the first step of the value ladder. You gave them some value. You didn't ask for anything in return, and it was free, and it's really easy, and it was quick, right? I like the thought of definitely time kills deals, time kills leads, and also that first touch being quick and they can have a chance to get some value. Then the second thing might be like a podcast, or might be like an actual full book that you wrote, or some kind of webinar that you're giving, or something of that nature where you could start to develop the relationship more, add some more value, help them to get to know you a little bit more. And then, hey, there might be an offer at the end of that. Is that a fair summary, Gabe?
Yeah, for sure. And I follow a guy called Frank Kern in the online marketing space, and I love his kind of his philosophy on this. He does a lot of online marketing, so the Facebook ads, Google ads, that kind of stuff. But he's really big on developing relationships without actually talking to people via ads. And that's, once a person goes to your website, submits the offer or submits their contact information, you call them. They're not ready to sell at that point. You set up remarketing ads, you set up email touchback points, and just continue to give them value. So the first remarketing ad may be, if you're selling single family houses and you deal with people who are going into foreclosure, first remarketing ad may be, hey, this is an ebook I wrote. It goes through the top 10 points or the top 10 issues most people run into when they're dealing with foreclosure. Here's a way to solve it. Just thought you might like it. Make it a video, look into the camera, say, hey, I saw you went to the website. Just wanted to let you know I created this book. You can have it for free. Go here. Keep remarketing. Keep touching. Getting those touch points in. The actual number, I can't remember where I learned this, but you have to have 7 touch points to get a sale. So you have to touch them 7 times before the sale actually goes through. So just keep that number in mind and use all the different avenues in order to hit that number before you close.
Love that. And another thing I also added to my business was what's called a pre-close or pre-client due diligence portal, right? And it's like, here's A to Z what you need, and you log on, it's custom. Once you have that free consultation with me, and if you qualify, then we'll move forward to the next step. And now they can go there and they can go through kind of like a mini course, right? And FAQs and there's videos and there's walkthroughs and there's short snippets, and that helps them to, because we're in the Netflix, on demand, Amazon Prime, era where people want to access information quickly and they want to access it multiple times at different time periods, So that is also something that I've done, which is pretty cool. And in ClickFunnels, if you haven't heard of that yet, you should check it out. It's a great way to help build those out in an easy way. Okay, cool. I like Frank Hearn. By the way, I think Frank Hearn and Russell Brunson, they do some stuff together anyways, which is not surprising. So, all right, excellent. So develop long-term relationships and choose, you also mentioned choose a channel. By the way, I think you're referring to choose maybe a social media channel, but maybe you can clarify that.
Just choose a channel, meaning a marketing channel. It can be anything. If you want to focus on direct mail, just destroy your direct mail systems. Just really hone them in, make them perfect. So just choose whatever medium you want to get good at, and really nail that medium down until you actually mastered it, and then move on to the next one. Don't try to do everything: ringless voicemail, texting, email, cold calls, all this stuff all at once. And, because then your effort is going to be dispersed and it's not going to be very effective. And your results are going to be, they're going to reflect that. So choose one method, one medium, nail that down, master it, and then move on to the next.
Perfect. Absolutely love it. That makes perfect sense. Because by the way, I signed up for like Ringless Reach. Like I bought the guy Ringless reached me. I called him back and I bought the $500 thing, and it's been sitting there for a year. And part of it is because it's actually good because I've been focused on other things, and I'm like, I don't have the time to focus on this yet, but it's there. But yeah, I think I need to just say, okay, the next 60 days or 30 days, whatever, 90 days, I'm going to focus like a laser. And let's say for 5 hours a week, I'm going to just do Ringless Reach for my outreach, and then until I've mastered that, and then once I've mastered that, sure, then you can go to something else. But you're right. If you start to try to do everything all at once, it's like spinning a bunch of plates, and they're all going to fall. Is that a fair summary, Gabe?
Yeah, for sure. And also, once you've mastered it, it's great to go through a process yourself first, really understand it, really understand how it works, but then document it. Record videos that show the process, really document how it works, the best way to do it. Pass it off to a VA. That's what VAs are great at, is following a process if the process is well understood. So master it, get really good at it, understand it, then put it into a process doc, pass it off to a VA, let them handle it.
Absolutely. And by the way, for documenting it, a little tip here, and make sure you screen share, right? Use a thing called Loom or use Zoom and do a screen share and record yourself, and then categorize these into different places. And like such as, there's 4 things that every company and every business has. There's the attract, is the first part. It's called ACDC, right? Attract. Second one is convert. Third one is deliver, and the last one is collect. Oh, I'm sorry, ACDC, right? And the last one is collect. ACDC, what's the 80s band, right, Gabe, that you like?
Oh yeah, those are great songs.
So it's ACDC, DC, right? Yeah, I guess it is the same, right? Attract, convert, deliver, collect. And so as you're making these videos and as you're mastering what you're doing, document it, right? And then make little short snippets of, it could be a 5-minute video, a 3-minute video, and then move it into one of those 4. And then that's a whole nother thing about hiring VAs. Perhaps Gabe and I, we should have another show on that. But I've got 5 right now, Gabe. But just real quick, how many VAs are you currently working with right now?
I only have 3. They each have their own specific thing that they're doing. One of them's helping me with data. The other one is helping with the podcast, and then just a general admin that kind of helps with some of the systems that I work. Right now, I'm mostly doing RVMs. That's the I have enough leads with just that. And so RVM is so simple once you get the data right. It's the easiest of all the channels. And so I don't really need somebody to do that for me. It takes me 5 minutes to do it. But I used to do a lot of PPC ads. That's a little bit more intense. I would definitely work. That's a little bit higher than an RV. You're going to actually have, or VA. There we go. You're going to have to hire that out. Needs a little bit more experience and expertise, but
amazing.
But yeah, once you get a process down, hire a VA. They can definitely run it.
Amazing. By the way, you can learn more about Gabe Petersen at therealestateinvestingclub.com, therealestateinvestingclub.com. He's out of the great state of Washington, Tacoma area, and he's looking to buy mobile home parks, by the way, multifamily and self-storage, and he's done wholesaling. So all that being said, Gabe, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's hear it.
All right. What's your biggest frustration when it comes to capital gains tax deferral and or the 1031 exchange?
Frustration is just I don't have enough knowledge in that area, and I know there are huge gains to be had there. But my lack of knowledge is a problem, and so it's something that I need to learn a little bit more about.
Yeah, by the way, that's what we do here at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We give you clarity on your options and the 1031 exchange, also the Deferred Sales Trust. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. And also a quick plug, we're working on a lot of cryptocurrency cases right now. Like we can actually defer taxes on the sale of cryptocurrency, and then you can use those funds to invest into real estate. The Deferred Sales Trust is a powerful way to do that. Also works for primary homes and businesses and can save a failed 1031 exchange. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Next question, Gabe, is this favorite book that you've read or gifted the most in the past year?
Ooh, let's see. Favorite book. I always go back. The only book that I really ever gift is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's one of my favorite books, and I really like Stoic philosophy. I think it's a great thing for anybody to learn and understand. Meditations, it's Marcus Aurelius's just journal essentially that he took when he was in the field, on his campaign, and it's great wisdom. So that's probably the book that I would choose.
Excellent. I'm going to check that out. Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. Question number 2. What's the best real estate deal you've ever done?
Oof, best real estate deal I've ever done. Best. So I would say best is a very subjective term, but I'm going to choose this mobile home park the first mobile home park I did, that I purchased in George, Washington. Which is funny. The city is George in the state of Washington. And it was the first one. It was a great deal. So this is a cold call. We got it through a cold call. And the owner was a large potato farmer. Like he is the potato king here in Washington. Washington's actually one of the biggest producers of potatoes. And this guy just rules.
I love those.
This guy just rules the nest when it comes to potatoes. And so this park wasn't really a huge concern to him, really a priority at all to him. So we negotiated terms. He gave us I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was like a 19 or a 21 cap or something like that on actuals.
That's unheard of. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was absurd. Or actually, it was pro forma. But the issue that he had water leaks in his pipes, in his water pipes, and so his utility bill for the year was I don't remember specifically, but I think it was 80% OPEX. So he was just crushing all of
Just
his.
throwing money out the window.
Yeah, and he just it had been going on like this forever. He didn't care, so he sold it to us. We fixed that, obviously got that out of the way, and it was a great property.
So, by the way, that's a metaphor for life sometimes, right? It's like we have these water leaks in certain areas of our lives, or like not doing ringless reaches or text follow-ups or whatever, right? And we're just throwing money out of the window, right? And so to become expert commercial real estate professionals and or operators and buyers and investors, we've got to look for those leaks. And then sometimes it takes hiring a coach or getting with someone like Gabe Petersen or myself to help you with that, right? And I got coaches too. So I think that's just a good segue, good reminder. Don't be letting all the money go through your pipes, leaky pipes. All right, next question. What are you curious about right now?
What am I curious about? So self-storage is it's something on the horizon that I've been interested in the past. I like the idea of nothing against tenants. Tenants are great. You know, it's great to have tenants. But I like the idea of doing something that doesn't involve people living on the property. And I don't want that to sound. I feel like that sounds bad. But I just like the idea of self-storage. It sounds like a really great asset class. I've always been interested in it. And so I'm curious about learning it. This is, I've just started over the past 2 weeks. I got a huge data set that I'm already skip tracing, and so that's what I'm curious about, is how that works. If anybody out there does self storage, reach out to me. I'd love to chat.
Absolutely. Last question. After all your success, Gabe, helping so many people, having one of the #1 rated podcasts in international world, how do you stay centered in your values, and how do you stay encouraged to reach for new heights?
How do I say centered in values is definitely to surround yourself with people who reflect your values. And so, spend time with people who match your values. They don't have to match you. It's great to have diversity of, personality, diversity of beliefs. But when it comes to really fundamental values, in order to reinforce those values, it's really good to have people, to surround yourself with people who reflect those values. So that's probably, and then also books, reading books that kind of reinforce what you truly believe, is good in life. And so books, and then just people, the people you surround yourself with.
Amazing. Gabe, for the listeners who want to get in touch with you, would you mind one last time, what's the best place for them to connect with you?
Of course. It's therealestateinvestingclub.com. It's a podcast. We go through all of the different asset classes. So if you want to learn a little bit about investing, come on over there. Brett was actually a guest on the podcast. We talk all about capital gains, DST. So come over there, check Brett's episode out. It was a good one. Realestateinvestingclub.com.
I appreciate that plug, Gabe Petersen. And I also appreciate all of our listeners listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most commercial real estate brokers, also commercial real estate owners and realtors, they struggle with clarifying their passive income options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven brokerage model such as the eXp commercial model and purchasing investment real estate is the best way for you to grow your wealth. I'm Brett Swarts, and you can learn more about all of that, by the way. Go to expertcresecrets.com. That's expertcresecrets.com. We're also streaming on capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We touched on the Deferred Sales Trust. If you haven't heard about that, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to learn how the Deferred Sales Trust can save a failed 1031 exchange, help you raise more capital, add more value to your clients, and really be the Netflix to the way people exit highly appreciated assets versus the old blockbuster ways. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com for that. Thanks everybody for listening, and we so appreciate you being a part of our listenership. Bye now.